Welcome to Guest Talks with Tracey Arbon. Bringing you special guest interviews from musictalks.xyz.
Hi everybody, it's Tracey here from Music Talks, and on today's show we have somebody I'm going to introduce to you who isn't in the music business. However, I met Mark through a similar interest in business and entrepreneurship through a mutual person who we've both learnt probably a lot from. Welcome, Mark. He's from Calming Moments in Australia with Weighted Blankets. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Tracey. Thanks for having us on your show. Look forward to it.
Yeah, so let's just start off telling people who you are, where you're from, and tell us a little bit about how you began Calming Moments.
Okay, so Calming Moments was started with nothing more than a bit of a paycheck in the bank account. So, you know, I was working full-time. I'd been working for 25 years in the print industry. So I was working full-time, doing pretty successful in there. And my wife was struggling dealing with our son's issues at school. So it was just like, what are we going to do? You know, she can't keep, burning through this. And it was getting pretty intense. We had to go sort my son out at school. So I was like, what can we do? So I was like, I've got experience in marketing. I've got experience in AdWords, a few other little things. Mm-hmm. Could we come up with a product that would give her something different to do? So she's not always seeing the negativity about having to go to school. Yeah. So looked around, thought, okay, autism, it's a bit of a niche. What can we look at around there? So we started looking at different products out there. And I started looking at weighted blankets and saw the price of how much people were charging them for. And the big thing for us was like, when you've got a kid on the autism spectrum, you end up with so much medical bills. So it was just like, it seems a bit unfair that now there's other people out there sort of, charging a really high thing. So what I did is I said to my wife, let's try building a weighted blanket, and she was like, this is a bit different. Your background's IT and a bit of marketing mix and now it's in this is sewing machines. And she had no sewing experience either. So we pretty much down the spotlight. First of all, we went to her mum because her mum was a seamstress. So we said, can you make this for us? And it was like, it's too hard, it's too bulky. And it was really negative. It was like, this isn't going to work, give up on it. Next weekend I said, no, not giving up on this. Went down to Spotlight, bought a $99 sewing machine.
Right.
And we produced our first weighted blanket and probably took about 6-7 hours. It was a long lead time. Yeah. And I started thinking, what's a little bit different with the product? So we built a cool insert. So it was like it could go into their bed and we marketed it at $99. Right. And what I did from then is I used AdWords back before it got too expensive to actually pretty much generate leads. So within the first week, we actually started selling these blankets really, really crazily. Yeah. So to the point from that, my wife sort of runs it. We've gone from being a home business. We're year 5 now. We have a factory with about 8 staff. Right. And about two and a half years ago, it enabled me to then quit my full-time job. Wow. And to me to take over the role of pretty much running my own little web business that I was sort of running back at the time, and to look after the kids and to now reverse the roles around so Cherisse could focus on the business. That's my wife. Yeah. So I could, be that person where she's had to do it for the last couple of years. So that's a bit of a long-winded story about how it started.
Yeah. And I believe that also, we met through the same group, also being trained and a lot of help by the team of the Kerwin Ray guys. And so what was it that changed the way you also did things? Because Calming Moments now is exploding. You are now a major business that is going crazy. You have the absolute entrepreneur title above your head, because an entrepreneur I don't think should be taken lightly. A lot of people will call themselves that, but the amount of work that's involved and the amount of risks that you take, and I just think that I'm trying to translate this across to music and to get this message out to artists as well. What was the big change that really kicked off Calming Moments from what you'd learned?
So the big, back then, I guess I was still holding back at that stage there because we were doing okay and it was generating enough to be comfortable. It wasn't like scaling back then. It was probably the mindset around spending money, investing money in your own personal development and marketing. Right. So even back then, I was even holding budgets back on marketing, and I knew that we could spend a lot more on it to attract more leads. But for some reason, I just had this mindset barrier. It's like, oh, well, everyone else is spending maybe $500 in AdWords, and I'm spending $2,000. That seems ridiculous. And my friends are going, why are you spending $2K on AdWords? But in the meantime, it's generating, 10 to 20K revenue off it.
Yeah.
So it was like, why am I holding myself back on spending money? I guess it was more a mindset adjustment, like, to be a bit more open, to ideas, not to sort of discount things. Because back then, Facebook was just starting off, and I had people using Facebook, and I dabbled in it a couple of times.
Right.
And it was that thing of going, Facebook doesn't work,
Yeah.
And it was sort of, why have I got this belief that it doesn't work? I need to go out and prove, like, for myself, does it work or does it not work?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I also there's a lot of people that I talk to that still, especially on the Twitter sphere. I'm very much on Twitter because it is a great medium for, your quick chat and your responses and stuff like that. And people are just on there a lot. Facebook is a very different platform. And I guess it's just, it's not even about convincing them. I think it's more about, showing proof to them that it does work. And the really difficult thing about showing proof is they still don't believe it, regardless of those numbers that you show them. And until they experience that, I'm finding that really difficult to try and tell them, look, it really does work. So since you've actually found the key to using Facebook, what's your ROI in recent stages?
At the moment, I'm sort of not revealing too much to my friends and stuff around it, because then they're reaching out expecting the same results.
Right.
It takes a while to dial it in. So it's just like, if you keep chipping away, and I think a lot of people give up too early in the game. It may take a month or 2 months to get it running, by the time you got the data and everything else. But currently on Facebook, my return on investment is about 35 times.
Right.
So every dollar I put in, I generate $35 back.
Yeah.
And it's, the first time when I first started it, it was a 5 times return on investment. And I was like, that's pretty cool, 5 times. And I could have stopped there, but I just kept perfecting it. And then I got up to 10, 20, to the point I'm at 35. And that may be a bit ridiculous. But, it works. And it's really, really interesting, because a lot of people just discount it, or they tried it, and maybe they just had the wrong person guiding them, or they looked at the wrong guides, or maybe didn't interpret it, or maybe the content wasn't right, or maybe they're just sharing the wrong thing that's not relevant for the audience. Yeah. So I was just experimenting, looking at the data that was coming back through. But I guess the penny really dropped for me around Facebook was a lot of people are like going, okay, well, you can target business owners in this state and everything else. I guess the big moment for me was probably in January, when I realized, hold a sec, Facebook knows everything about me. It knows everything about my customers. If I tell Facebook this info as well, and I start sharing info back of what customers converted, why not let Facebook go find my customers? And that's when it really started lighting up.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting because probably a lot of music listeners and artists will be listening to this, and they'll say, yeah, but hang on, this is a product. And this is very different to, selling my music. Well, this is, again, we're talking about the mindset and the change in which independent music artists and artists need to actually make. And that is, they have to be the product. They have to start thinking of themselves as a business, as entrepreneurs. And it's not a quick fix. And it's not, I'll just do this and it's done. It is several, layers involved in this. And a lot of it is the content that you are pushing out there. It's not the old way of creating an ad. People have banner blindness now, and that banner blindness has formed now into video, because video is so huge. And this is something else that I've tried to keep saying to artists, you've got to get more video content. It is now, 80%. And it's going to just become 100%. I'm sure it will, or 90%. Let's not, don't want to exaggerate, but let's just say, it is going to take over, and it is already. So. Yeah. And my advice to them is to, I've actually have this video cheat sheet that's available that people can actually download for free. And I have in there some really great tips, especially in part 2, whereas if, it might be a one-line tip, but how crucial is that one line in creating some great, interaction with your music. And it's not about the ads. It's not about the old-fashioned way ads used to be. So, and I've noticed with your so-called ads, can you explain a little bit, because,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always talking about,
That's
Facebook
okay.
and ads and stuff, and it's not ads.
So the way I use my ads, I think about it a bit differently. So on my page, generally you'll see I don't do any sales push. So I'm trying to give value. So I try and when the blankets come out, I'll take a picture on the bed. But I even break the rules around other people. Like I don't link to the product. I just have send a message.
Yeah.
Because the way I work is you should be able to get to a point where you've got enough good content you're putting out, which is adding value to people, that if they engage with something else, then let the ads follow through. So you shouldn't need to be so spammy on your Facebook page all the time.
Yeah.
So I can produce whatever I need. And then if they touch my website, if they touch anything else, then my ads then actively engage and start following them back and start tempting them into a sale or showing them other products they're interested in. But for the first thing on my Facebook page, all I do is, just produce content. It can just be, literally, here's some new fabric we got for a weighted blanket, or here's some new styles that are coming out. Or it could even be, I've started posting, for employees, putting videos out there, and they work pretty well. Just not doing the thing where you're having to do such a sales push. It's just being natural. And video is big. So every time we do video, the reach is a lot bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
But think about what that video is. Is it adding value to that person's life, or is it just you trying to do a sales push? If it's a sales push, it's very off-putting and it doesn't work. So let your adverts do all that sales push, because that's what they are. They're there to convert them into a customer.
Yeah, exactly. And also, just going back a little bit, you mentioned about when a customer goes over to your website, and then suddenly the ads follow them, that you're using a remarketing tag.
Yeah.
Right. So again, a lot of artists might not know about using a remarketing tag, and you can do this by creating and setting up pixels on your website. There's Facebook pixels, there's Google pixels, and they can do all that. And I'm just what I think is going on with people in the music business. They don't understand really how this works. And again, I think they seem to think that it's just one quick thing that they need to do, when there are several elements involved, and you need to be able to take some time off from whatever you're doing and spend a few days learning other things. And this is the thing, they just expect it to, I don't know, just come out of thin air. And so
it's hard work. But the thing is, it's perfecting it. So, once you get that remarketing, it may take you a bit of time to learn. It may take a month to perfect that remarketing down. But it's then in there, The thing is, the way I look at it, and I keep telling people, it's like you're leaving money on the table. People are time poor now. People forget stuff. So if they're looking for your product, like say they're looking for our weighted blankets, they're going to look at our weighted blanket, get interested in it, but then they're going to go research the market possibly and look at other weighted blankets. So all I got to do is just show them our ad to gently remind them, hey, we're still here.
And how much cheaper are we?
And how much cheaper, and here's some value add, which the other guys aren't doing. And maybe it's that same product falling back, but it can apply to any industry. It's like you go book a holiday, you look at that hotel, you go, oh, that's right, I should book that. And you keep forgetting about it till it comes up to that point where you go, I need to do something about this. And all it took was that gentle reminder of that ad to show. And because most people, this year I'm finding just time poor, they don't have time. If you put that back in front of them and the offer's valid and everything else, they will generally take it up. So, the big thing for us with remarketing was, hold a sec, we're leaving money everywhere because people are forgetting who we are by not targeting them back and following them adverts.
And now going just back to our video content, this is just something I've been focusing on lately to try and get this message across, and that is, when you're creating video content, the whole idea is creating that personal connection with somebody. So show them what you're doing behind the scenes. In an artist's case, if they're recording anything, if they are recording anything, get somebody to take some video footage of you in the studio, not just singing, but maybe messing around at the mixing desk or doing other things, and just then post that as an ad. But not an ad as such. Don't have a call to action in there. If you don't know what a call to action is, it basically means don't place any links in there to get people to move on over, because people are smart too nowadays. They know what you're doing. So it's creating engagement and interest. A lot of people who aren't really in music, some of them really find that quite interesting to see an artist working in the background, or and it's these sort of things that you need to focus on. And you do a lot of this too with Coming Moments. As you said, you show people, you show how you're making your blankets, you show what your showroom looks like, and setting up your studio and things like that, which I saw. Looks very cool.
And to give you an idea, that studio was quite interesting. Like, I took a shot And I put that on my personal timeline. And, it's not to go out there and to go, hey, I've got a video studio or whatever. It's just like, I've got all these gear lying around. Why don't I set it up? And from then I got heaps and heaps of requests for people actually wanting to use my video studio. It's just like going, it's just an office with a couple of cameras set up and a light box.
Hey, I think that was brilliant when I saw that. I thought, oh my God, how do you do that? Let's just go back. You did Kerwin Ray, who I do often talk about, and there's a few people who know that, that we get some great support from the team there. And quite a lot of the Kerwin Ray people and the businesses that are involved have done really, really well. So, and I remember talking to you quite a while ago, where you'd mentioned how you just changed and tweaked a few things after you had learnt from Kerwin Ray about not giving so many things out for free. You changed the way. I don't know if you remember.
Okay.
I might have caught you now.
Yeah, because I juggled a couple of hats. So when I went to Kerwin Ray, I had another sort of another web business that was sort of there, and obviously Coming Moments. But I'm sort of entering back into that now, where a lot of people are, picking your brains about social media and stuff like that. And giving away some stuff for free, but also realizing that some people will want to, if there's no pain point or barrier to entry to pay for something, then they don't value it as much, and they're not as committed to it as well. So and when I look back at it, that was technically what we did with Kerwin. Kerwin, there was a fee to go to it and to be part of it. But the value we got from it was really massive. So once I did that, it unlocked that thing of why am I not spending money to further my business? And I continue to do that to this day. So, social media, I advanced my learning and I paid to be part of, a special team around that. So it's just like, if you really want to learn this stuff, and you're serious about it, then why would you not invest money into it? It's everything I've seen doing when I've done it has had, it's paid itself off or it's generated income.
And it does. It certainly does work. And what I've realised is whatever we've learnt from the team, and when we talk about things and their support, it's actually, it is real. It is true. It is not a whole lot of hogwash. Yeah. So, Now,
it's also been around them positive people. So one of the big things I did as well when I got back from that was really look at them circle of friends that I was around, and are some of these guys holding me back? Are they positive? Yeah. And that was a big change. So pretty much I came back from that and I was like, yep, that's it, time to sort this out. Yeah. And I've got some really positive business owners that I make sure that we're around, and we're pretty tight, even though we're based in Mandurah. Yeah. And they're on different fields. I've got one that's a glass company, one that's a lawyer, one that's does as a beautician, and they're really really positive people, all in different industries. Yeah. And just that drive, to do all them crazy ideas, to be around them people just fuels you a lot better.
Yeah, that's definitely true, because there are so many people also on social media that like to argue everything you do and like to pick your brains on everything, and you can't just come back with 2 lines of explaining things to them. It's not that easy to do. Yeah. And these people do they can bring you down, and I don't like being brought down. So I'm always trying to keep positive, and also, as you mentioned, your son, the reason for you developing Calming Moments was around your son, and I think that's also a great connection that we have, because both our kids are on the spectrum. I completely understand everything about weighted blankets. And I will say I am going to purchase one, by the way. That's so
I might stalk you otherwise.
Yeah. So, even though a lot of people would also make up excuses, I find the excuses thing really, really quite annoying. And then,
Well, they say they haven't got time. So over the Christmas break, I was like going, how much can I push myself out of my comfort zone? How much could I do in 30 days? Yeah. And it was surprising. I managed to rebuild a whole e-commerce site. I did a data migration. Yeah. I studied really, really hard on the Facebook adverts and learnt that. And there was a few other things that I did, and that was only 30 days. But it's them things that hold people back. It's just like, and I don't see it as like, I guess it gives you a superpower because you're more sort of, you're more battle hardened, I guess, if you've got to deal with a kid on the spectrum. But we started the business, with having to go to the school, being called at any point in time to pretty much drop. I worked in the city, that was an hour away, so we had to drop what we're doing, go there. My wife was constantly getting stressed about the situations. We had school meetings. I was in a management position, so I had to, sort out this other company that was going crazy. But I still managed to start a business in that period, so it can be done.
Yeah, and try and run it. And basically, like we said the other day, we were chatting on Facebook, and we said, and we're trying to squeeze in a business in amongst our kids. It's quite funny. Quite often, we're up until all hours of the morning. And look, I'm not saying, that's a good thing to keep going for people, especially if they've got health issues. But, and I won't say our age, but, we're very similar ages, Mark, aren't we?
Yep.
So, we're not young chickens. So there are a lot of young dudes out there who I think are making a lot of excuses, and they say, there's no such thing as being too busy. If you are serious about it and you want to do something, you will do it. And that just comes back to if your passion is real.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, the way I'm looking at things, like even with the Facebook that I'm working in now, it's just like there's a time limit to this before it becomes, too expensive, and you're going to miss that boat. It could be 2-3 years before Facebook becomes really, really expensive, and
it'll become like your Google AdWords.
Yeah, it becomes like your Google AdWords, and it's just like, have I missed the boat? It's just like every excuse that you put yourself back, and you wait another month, and you just put a barrier in place. Then by the time you launch. But even if you launch in 6 months or whatever it is, it's going to be whatever that fee is. As long as you're generating money back from a return on investment, then it's fine. But yeah, I'm just mindful to everyone that I'm speaking to now. It's like, seriously, this could dry up in 2 years before you can't afford to enter the market. Like, why are you not jumping onto it?
And it is the largest platform. 2.6 billion people on there now. That's just huge. Apart from Google, now Google, like we said, AdWords are massive. I mean, I just don't know how, unless you've got a product that is quite a lot of money to purchase. I'm talking about, something maybe you've got in your store for, say, $1,000. To me, I mean, unless you really got your head around Google AdWords, although, I have to admit I will be trying Google AdWords very shortly, but that's on a different product altogether.
Yeah, and it still works. We still use AdWords. AdWords is still probably generates us quite a lot of revenue. It does work. So if you're in a niche industry, then AdWords still does work for niches. If you all you do is type in your product, see what comes up. Yeah. Also, I find AdWords for local businesses works really, really well.
Yeah.
So there's different avenues, but Facebook is the hot place to be. Like, if I'm spending at the moment, whatever the budget is, I'll be spending a quarter of that on Facebook and getting a bigger result from it. And that's how insane Facebook is. It's like you're out in the street with a board saying, Facebook's cheap, get onto it, people.
Yeah, I know. And I keep saying this as well. I keep saying it is so cheap. I spent 1 cent on video views. And again, unless you know what I'm talking about, maybe you'll be stressing out, or your mind's going, I can't deal with this. This is the thing, you've got to just delve into it and learn.
Yeah, and rip the Band-Aid off, get into it. And your first ad set's not going to, it's not going to, a lot of people go in, unfortunately, they, hear something like this and they hear their success stories, and then they go in, probably don't learn it enough. Or even just practice the craft. It's just like put something there and go, look, for the first month, I'm going to learn, and I'm going to learn something from this experience. Maybe I'm not going to generate sales, but I am going to get better at it. And month 2 is going to be better again. A lot of people go into it wrong, and they've heard these stories out there of successes, and then they go, okay, I'm going to push that boost button, and I expect the world to go crazy. It's like, no, there's all this other work. And people see this out there. I'm seeing a lot of people, they see these other products and they go, oh, that was, phenomenal what that did. And, it's because the product was this and they did the adverts. But there's some back end stuff that's going there that you just need to learn and know why, because otherwise you just end up leaving money everywhere. It's just like, if you spent money on an advert and they came in and touched your product, but you haven't got any recovery mechanism there to just retarget them back, then you lose money there as well.
Yeah, that's right. And as you've said, a lot of us have been trying out and exploring and experimenting with this for quite a long time before it has hit.
Yeah.
And also the help. Some people don't have much luck with getting any help from Facebook. How have you gone with that? Have you managed to get, if you've called out for help from them, how have you gone with?
I generally stay away from them. I haven't had to reach out for help for them. Just because I've found when you spend a certain amount of budget with Facebook, I think it's over $500 a month, they will reach out to you and then offer to help you out. I think the downside is, I guess you're paying Facebook for their adverts. Do you want to, have them advise you how to spend the money that they're technically taking from you?
Yeah.
not a good idea.
I know. Actually, I do wonder about. I set something up as an experiment. Again, I'm always experimenting with things, and that's what you do. I experimented with them targeting what they think my audience is on my page, for my Facebook page, and the amount of money that I was actually spending from what they thought was really bad. And I thought, no, I just turned them off. So they think they know one thing about you, but it's about your customers. So, you've mentioned something about earlier about...
Yeah, I think the teams as well from Facebook, from what I can understand, I know they're rolling out more and more sensors to help, and obviously Facebook ads are getting quite big. But a lot of these people are quite fresh. They've got a script there that they're going through. So I wouldn't be taking too much of their advice on board. I'd be learning it as much as you can yourself and looking at that data. There's so many ways of, there's so many ways of targeting now. It's insane.
Yeah, that's right. I have had Facebook call me actually once, and I thought it was a prank call, and I hung up on them, and then they called me back, and I had to confirm with them who they were. It was quite interesting, but they actually called me to offer me some help, and I actually didn't spend $500 that month. I don't spend that amount, but I depending on what I'm doing at the time, I will put money into certain ads. So. Interesting. Now, and also, I think the stats for Facebook, don't quote me on this, but I do know a few months ago, it was still only 5% of businesses using Facebook ads. And when you consider that 5% on 2.6 billion people, that's, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It's like you've got this opportunity at the moment to really craft your skill, I guess, and to roll it out before everyone else gets on board. And as they come on board, if it's 5% now, as soon as it goes to 10%, them ads are going up. When the algorithm changed, I was like going, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because a lot of people are going, all this free traffic, I've now lost and everything else. And I'm sitting there going, well, you didn't say it was the ads. The ads aren't getting touched by it. But what's going to happen now is people need to go into the ad space. But I haven't seen too much of an increase. If anything, it's worked out a little bit better. I guess it's probably flushed them people out, I guess, that were getting free reach around there and not using ads to their leverage, I guess, maybe.
Right.
I don't know, maybe it also helped with some of their marketers out there that were saying they were Facebook marketers. And now this is really proving, you need to really be on your game with what you're doing with Facebook to make it work.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you'd like to maybe suggest, or something that you're trying that maybe could give some advice to?
The big thing at the moment is as I said, you see some of my posts and that they get out of control, so we have a lot of comments. But your easy win is if anyone comments on your post that you're doing, even if it's the advert, make sure you're actually replying back to that customer or that client, or adding some value to them. They really like the conversations.
Yeah.
And as you're commenting as well, the worst thing I see sometimes people running ads and there's no comments, there's no likes on it. So one of the things I like to do is build momentum behind a post and make sure it's got some leverage there. It's got, a couple hundred comments. It's got, a lot of likes on it, and then turn that into an advert versus doing the cold way and fresh ad out and there's nothing there. It's called social proofing. So there's a lot of people commenting about it, and we see it all the time. If we have, a lot of people commenting and their friends are getting tagged and everything else, and we turn that into an advert, it works really, really successful. But it's good as well because a lot of people feel we've had, we did a shoe necklace video, and what was interesting on that is we started commenting and adding value, and then I stopped doing it because it got so out of control. But what happened is our actual customers started talking with each other. They actually started conversations around these shoe necklaces, because the thing was I just crazily put on there and said, maybe put the craziest thing your kids chewed. So they're going school uniforms, and people were going, oh yeah, my kid does that. He chews his uniform. So we actually started a little community on this little post, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I find if we engage and make that then people feel part of the brand, I guess. Then they feel really aligned with it, and they feel like a little ambassador. And they're more tempted then to go out and recommend. So I find if I'm going out there commenting and doing a lot of customer service sort of stuff, or maybe it's not customer service, but it's just, I guess looking after your people. We find our recommendations that week will go through the roof. Everyone will start recommending us in Facebook posts. So highly recommend it. It doesn't take long to jump on there. So yes, just going through, spending a couple minutes on my schedule in the morning. I come in half an hour and I'll go through all the posts I can, making sure I've, engaged. obviously we got really busy, so the last couple of weeks don't have a look at them.
Yeah. No, I know you crazy taking off. Just I take my hat off to you. I think you're just doing amazing. So what you're saying here is again a big thing that I don't see with a lot of the artists is engagement, and engagement is the key.
Yeah. And it's an easy win. Like, if you're looking at the numbers as well, like, every time you comment, it adds another comment to the chain. So, if you had 50 comments on your little post, you comment back, you're now at 100, so it does help with the numbers. But, the best thing is it's engaging. Like, seriously, talk to your customers. They love it. And the thing is, and, the little hack of inviting people to your page, if you don't know about that, on all your posts, hover over that little like button that shows all the people. Yeah. Get that up and then invite all them people to your page. You have about 24 hours to pretty much do that successfully. Yeah. If people, if you've done that within 24 hours, they generally will come back. Yeah. And the big thing, I guess, this year is to think about it in time. Your people are so time poor, even when they don't have a job, they just don't have time. It's like literally, if it's going to take three clicks to do something, I'm bored, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. But if you invite me to the page and it's one click, yes, I'll do it. So
it's almost like the busier that you are, a busier person can fit in more.
It's just like everyone across the board. It's like your email. Like, you look at your email and you see all that email coming through, and all of it's spam, but you just can't be bothered clicking on that unsubscribe button, waiting for the email to come back.
Yeah, I know. You just keep deleting them. I know.
That's what it's become. Everything is just so high paced now. So I guess it's doing that thing. A business interacting with their customers is different, I guess, and that's what it is. If you can do something to get your customers on board to like you quicker, I guess, or, within that 24 hours and really hold their hand. And that's one of the big things as well with my advertising. I'm realizing a lot of people don't want to maybe leave Facebook land. They want to stay in Facebook land. So they're quite happy to message us and then have a conversation, and, really help them out, and choose their product. Or use bots or whatever you want to do. There's tons of opportunities out there. It's just insane.
Yeah, and a lot of people are against bots, and I think it just depends which ones you use and what's and just realizing, I think it's developing a trust as well, with and knowing that you will get back to them and you're not just faceless. So
and the bots are quite interesting. It's probably a bit of a sidestep. I mean, it's social media, but it might apply to your musicians. Think of your bots as the new email platform. Yeah. It's so new that just like I said about your emails, you get your emails now and you scan through them, you can't bother reading them. Yeah. As soon as you get a message from a bot, because you can do sequences, so they can, day 2, day 3, it does this. Your open rate is 100% versus email, which is 4%. So that's why we're starting to look into bots.
Yeah, I'm doing bots at the moment, actually. I'm here. I'm still here. I do reply to people. Yes. But, you're exactly right. And the percentage of people that open it is 100%. It's amazing. And not only that, it makes it just so easy for them to click download and they've got it.
Yeah, and the best thing is, as soon as the big thing around the bot is it's automation, yes, but when you can get your head around it, it's a subscription. So, it's a one opt-in. As soon as they talk to your bot, then they'll subscribe to your sequence to be able to do something with. So it's it's that time thing, They click on it, they're in. Versus the email, which you've got to send them something, they're going to reply. There's this 3-step. It's too boring, and this is where it's just whatever you can do with tricks around time, you do pretty well in business. And I mean, look at us. I mean, we've got crazy things going on, and we're still like going out and we're doing bots.
Yeah, I know.
So we're fitting time in to do it. So people fitting Facebook ads or replying, that should be an easy thing to do.
Yeah. So the overall message, I guess, that we're trying to get to everyone is that no matter how successful somebody is and no matter where you are on the ladder, you always have to keep at it. You always have to keep learning. And from that comes more, obviously, experience, but also your vibe and and the less negativity around you, the better, the more you can actually, proceed with whatever it is you want to proceed. But don't let any negative comments and people turn you off, and surround yourself with, great people.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get that thing as you expand, as you get bigger, you will attract the negatives. And it's just people, they can click a button and put the little angry symbol on your post. Does it hurt me? Not really. When I'm running volume through it, I'm going to get them anyway. That could be competitors. I don't look at it too much, but positivity is a massive thing. Make sure you got them right people around that are really nudging you out of your comfort zone to do something.
Yeah, because those negative people just stay where they are.
And they'll sit there and have digs at you about what you should do. I get people that tell me I should be doing this and I should be doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at them thinking, well, what exactly are you doing?
And what's working for you and what have you tried?
It's all great telling me what I should be doing and everything else, but I'm not seeing you put it into practice.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, there's people that have been banned left, right and centre that I've heard, across social media. And fortunately, touch wood, I've never been banned or suspended or anything like that. And there's maybe a reason why. I lied. When you just mentioned about inviting people over, when you put your toggle over that little like section of seeing who has liked your post, do not spend so long inviting the entire list of 1,000 people, because then you might get a message pop up saying, you're still spamming.
Yeah. I mean, you get it anyway. I mean, I was doing it last week. I actually had it on all and I was going through and I had probably 2 angry. The post had gone to, I think it was up to about 5,000 likes or something like that. So it was insane and I was going through every day. And I didn't realize I actually had invited the people that were angry about my post.
Oh, no. That's funny.
I guess they didn't join.
Oops.
But it wasn't too bad. I was like, oops.
Yeah.
Uninvite now.
Yeah. Too late. Bye.
Start laugh about it, have a chuckle.
Yeah, and you have to. You really do have to. If you got to be, they say be thick-skinned. It's not that we don't care. Of course, we do care, but it's just, you're trying to run a business, and as in my situation, I'm trying to run a site and trying to offer advice and help to artists, and at the same time, like I said, you can't just give that help in, the space of 280 characters in Twitter.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit difficult. There's so much involved, there are certain steps involved. And
but yeah, I mean, I highly encourage people, to go out and learn, and sometimes, it's a matter of looking out there and seeing what's out there. Yes, there is some bad advice out there. But, if you implement it and it's the wrong advice, then you know it pretty quick.
You do.
You know pretty quickly, and just don't go looking for short fixes. Like, seriously, it's a matter of bolting this together. The first thing, which was doing video, which was scary for us, putting ourselves in front of that camera. Now, what are my friends going to think? What are my family going to think? That was scary in itself. But, doing the video, then replying to comments, then doing the advertising, then now up to the bots, by the time you bolt this together, it all fits together and then it starts really, really working. You're not looking for just one little hack that's going to just destroy your business. So that's the biggest thing I can get. Stop looking around for these little tips or little hacks that you think
quick fixes.
Yeah, quick fixes that you get a little bit of a lift and maybe it goes crazy for a couple of days, but then it drops off. It's literally content, documentate, I guess, and do some advertising to stop leaving that money behind. And that's the biggest thing, I guess, the takeaway is you are leaving money. If you brought people in and you're not retargeting, you take it. Like for us, we realized when I started doing the retargeting, which we weren't doing properly, we were leaving about 10K per month behind in lost sales.
Wow.
That we didn't know. We didn't even know it was there. So it's just like you don't know where this money is, I guess, sitting out there that you could be potentially missing out on, or you may be almost that close to getting your Facebook cranking or working and you give up the day before.
I know. And, and this is the funny thing. We've all done that.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've all had that frustration. We've all, wondered, and then you break through. And you just wonder, when is that breakthrough moment going to happen? Yeah. So you've just got to keep at it.
And don't be so desperate around it. Like it's like if you have these ridiculous figures and you impose them on yourself, like for us, we're a bit more natural. It's just like, as long as I'm getting that return or whatever it is on the ads, I'm fine with that. But I'm not going, this week I need to have $2,000 or I'm going to go bankrupt or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'm not really enforcing like really tight deadlines and putting yourself under pressure. Like just naturally go with it. Just learn and experiment and see what works. Yeah. And follow some people and look at people, see what they're doing. I look at other people and just see what they're doing with their posts, out of interest. And it can be different industries. What are they doing?
I know you've liked quite a few of mine. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also do the crazy like memes and everything else. Like I was like, oh, they're crazy. I see them occasionally. Yeah. But taking a meme and applying that to our business, like I did one with it was the guys off the office doing a barrel roll around the office, doing parkour in the office, and shared that to our page. And it was like, is your 5-year-old like this before he goes to school? And that went crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's relatability. It comes back to relatability as well.
Yeah. So just, there's tons of opportunities. Like, seriously, it's the best time to be in business. Like, you can learn this whenever you want. You can apply crazy things. The budgets are so cheap at the moment. Like, I keep telling everyone out there, and I'm not selling them anything. People are going, what are you selling me? It's like, well, nothing really. I just want you to get on board. Yes. Don't miss the boat.
Yeah, it's quite funny, isn't it? Well, Mark, I thank you so much. That's just amazing advice, I think, and I really hope that the artists listening to this, even though it's not you don't have a music company, we're talking about business, and this is it's the same across every single business. And as I've said to quite a few artists, that you've got to start thinking more like a product, more like a business, and put a lot more into it. Your music is your product, and what are you going to do from there? So
exactly, yep.
Yeah. So thank you again for your time.
Thanks for having us on.
Hang on, I've got a segment. I've just got a. This is a brand new segment. I actually forgot to tell you about this and warn you about this.
Oh no.
No. It's called. Now I've even forgotten how to pronounce this word. It's in Swedish, but it's called my 5 fluffy frågors. Do you know what frågors mean? Means, I think it's frågors. Frågors. It means questions. 5 fluffy questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a bit of a silly part of what I'm doing. Okay. So here are my 5 questions, and you have to try and answer them as fast as you can. Oh my God, you were going to
Uh-oh. Going from business mode to silly mode. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the thing. You've got to have fun in it all too.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. My 5 fluffy frågors. I don't even know if that's right, but I'll learn. I'll know next time. What is your favourite song?
Oh, I'm terrible with songs. Don't really listen to too much music. Favourite song?
Shame on you.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible. I've got it in the top of my head, but I'm so bad I don't even remember the song names or the artists. I'm a music show.
Okay, that one's out. Okay, this one sounds terrible, I know. But are you a board short guy, or not a board short guy, boxer guy, or a budgie smuggler?
Budgie smuggler.
Okay. Your favourite food? Favourite
food would be honey chicken.
Honey chicken.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Not chocolate or anything like that?
Nah, not surprisingly.
Okay, favourite place on earth?
Favourite place on earth? Haven't really travelled too much, so I'd probably say where I live, Mandurah. Really enjoy it down here.
Great. So you have weekends away anywhere, or?
Well, unfortunately, because we're business owners at the moment, we don't see much of a holiday or break. So holidays are normally getting out for lunch somewhere. Building the empire, eventually we'll get holidays.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to that too. Excuse me. Favourite drink?
Favourite drink? Enjoying Asahi beer at the moment.
What is that? Yes,
Asahi.
I can
it's
see.
Like a white beer, it is.
Yeah, I can see the label now.
Yeah.
Not that I've had maybe ages ago I did. Thank you again. I got to remember how that frågors is spelled. Frågors. I don't know. I have to ask my daughter.
Maybe we should call it fun facts.
Yeah, 5 fluffy fun facts. I'm not sure. But look, thank you again for your time. It's been awesome chatting to you. And and don't forget, any artists who are listening to this, share it around, tell everybody about it. This is available on iTunes, on Spreaker, and on the website. Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot for the time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Guest Talks with Tracey Arbon from musictalks.xyz.